Two kids with their hearts on fire. Who's gonna save us now? But we thought that we couldn't get higher. Things started looking down. What's good, everybody? Whoa, did this not go on Twitter? Hold on. Is this not retweetable? Did this not go on Twitter? Hold on. 1 second. Oh my god, Twitter wasn't even connected. Are you kidding? All right, we're gonna restart this without this actually connected to Twitter. Hold on. No. Like I'll get it restarted. Okay. I'm gonna just. Can you delete it? Is that all right? Ah, shit. All right. Okay. Fine. Irritating. Thank you, Periscope. Love Periscope. Wonderful setup. Idiots. Pardon my language. Okay. Really irritating. Thank you for the retweet, Jack, obviously. It's just a ridiculous thing. Oh, and of course, the sound is having issues. Anyway, sounds better. Okay. Let's go. We're going to do it anyway. We're going live. Inexplicably, Jake Tapper has decided to platform Richard Spencer. A very bizarre decision that I don't really think is defensible. So if you guys will be patient with me, I will play the clip of this appalling decision. Because it's important to actually see that he in fact did do it, and the purpose of why Spencer did what he did. So one second, I will find the clip. All right.
White nationalist Richard Spencer, who hailed Trump when he was first elected, is among those who are turning on Trump.
Many white nationalists will eat up this red meat that Donald Trump is throwing out there. I am not one of them. I recognize the con game that is going on.
They say Trump is all talk and no action on maintaining white dominance in America.
He gives us nothing outside of racist tweets. And by racist tweets, I mean tweets that are meaningless and cheap and express the kind of sentiments you might hear from your drunk uncle while he's watching Hannity.
Yes, that was Richard.
Yeah. I almost think, like, I'm kind of running out of things that need to be said here. There's a number of problems with this. One, Jake Tapper responded when I posted a clip wondering what the hell was wrong. And he tried to defend it saying, well, look, we put together a package on white nationalists. And when we put together the package, we had to quote them. So that's why we platform Richard Spencer. And the point being, you didn't just quote the guy. It's not like you found a tweet and you intersposed it. You interviewed him remotely. You interviewed him. And then you put the interview up. Did the interview contain any hits on Spencer? No. Did it contain any hostile questions? No. Did it put him on the spot? No. What it did contain was Spencer mouthing off to attack Trump and argue that Trump was being insufficiently racist. And they just let him do that. Why? Why? Right. As Jack says, Trump can't bring Office of Mike, but you can bring Richard Spencer. Like, literally, we've had to deal with Jake Tapper and his friends at CNN slamming our good friend Jack Posobiec here and trying to say that no one should ever talk to him, which is appalling, by the way, because Jack is an absolute mensch and somebody who's been at the front lines in fighting the alt-right. Like, here's what's so destructive about this. We've spent close to what, I would say, over a year, more like 2 years actually. We're 2 years in to fighting and beating off the alt-right. And we actually succeeded for the most part. Like, for the most part, the alt-right is marginal. When's the last time you heard about Richard Spencer? He's been off the radar, completely off the grid. The alt-right itself is splintered into a million factions. They're buried in litigation. They're not getting the same press anymore because, in general, the press has been more responsible and not just handing Richard Spencer a platform. Remember, before the press started enabling and amplifying Richard Spencer in 2016, when Mother Jones and the LA Times did profiles of him, he had like 10,000 followers on Twitter. And now, like, we beat them. They were irrelevant. And now here's CNN being like, here, Richard Spencer, have a platform to talk about how much you hate Trump. So on the one hand, it shows you how much how ridiculously angry they are because they are willing to give literally Richard Spencer, a white nationalist, a platform if it means he hits Trump. Two, they are essentially doing the exact same mistake that they did last year. The mistake being that they are doing, they are giving, why would you do this? I don't understand, right? I do not understand. You're giving Richard Spencer the ability to like rehabilitate his image. Like one of the questions I asked Jake was like, how many, are you just perfectly happy to let Richard Spencer recruit acolytes on your channel if he'll hit Trump? Jack says, imagine how low CNN's ratings must be. Desperate. I bet that's what's going on, right? They don't have anything to replace Russia. And so all their ratings are down. And so now it's like, well, whatever, we need ratings, put on a white nationalist. How is that different from like when any sort of other radical, these people are critical of conservative clickbait sites all the time, right? These people are super critical and they mock the Gateway pundit, mock Breitbart as irresponsible journalism. But then all of a sudden their ratings are down. They're like, hey, can we get some white nationalists on here? Things are looking a little dull and drab around here. We need to give some people who are actual racists some time here. As long as they'll say Trump is racist. And moreover, it's not just that it's a particularly hypocritical at a time when they made an editorial decision. Like, I've been watching CNN Chyrons all day. Like, I've been at the National Conservative Conference, and I've been watching CNN Chyrons all day long for the last 2 days. They have been uniform about editorializing that Trump's tweets were racist. And just being like, no, there's no discussion about it, they're racist. It's like, well, actually, they didn't mention race, one. Two, there were particular specific people that had made bizarre criticisms of the United States, had taken bizarre actions. Ilhan Omar, for example, deciding to plead for leniency for ISIS terrorists in Minnesota and saying that, it's something that Jake Tapper, on the anti-Semitism stuff, Jake Tapper's at least called it out. Stuff like all about the Benjamins discussing American supporters of Israel and talking about Israel has hypnotized the world. And yet, while they're doing this, while they're editorializing that President Trump is for sure racist, that he's made for sure racist tweets, they're giving platforms to Richard Spencer. Guys, why did you need to talk to white nationalists? They don't matter. They're irrelevant. Totally wrong. Everybody loves my hair. It's very nice of you. If you want to know what I do with my hair, the answer is nothing. Water. No shampoo. Got to use those natural oils to keep it fixed properly. Did they host him in studio? I think they had him in a remote studio. Jack says Tapper is lying in his tweet about it. What is, in the reply he did to me? Like, he just says they quoted him.
Champion the 27.
Like, that's all. Let's go further. What did he say? It blows my mind that they would be doing this. Yeah. He says, she did a tape package for CNN about the reaction of white supremacists to the president's tweets. Part of that included quoting these miscreants. It's not, and that's true, right? Spencer was anti-Trump in this piece. He was like criticizing Trump for not being sufficiently racist. So he was doing the work that that Spencer wanted. He was doing the work that CNN wanted because he was saying the tweets were racist. And then he was also deciding to because he was critical of Trump for other reasons. I mean, it's just noxious. No one needed to give this guy a platform. Like, it's one thing, again, I want to make sure you guys understand this is consistent with my general position. I do believe the platform acts as a civil right. So that means I believe even our most despicable speakers should have access to Facebook and Twitter unless they engage in unlawful speech. And I don't think Richard Spencer has engaged in unlawful speech, as far as I can tell. Noxious speech, awful speech, repellent, bigoted speech, but I don't think he's actually made speech that's incited violence, to my knowledge. If there's evidence that I'm wrong, I'd love to see it, because I really intensely dislike the guy. But there's a big difference between saying somebody should have access to Facebook and Twitter, because those are essential mechanisms for being able to communicate in the public square at all. They're the core of communication, while saying he shouldn't have a platform on CNN, that no television show in their right mind should put him on, that no serious person should interview them. So to kind of, again, giving a framework, going back to 2017, there was a time when I didn't have that many followers. I know this is a shock to most of you, that I will obviously be one of the most prolific and popular and brilliant people out there. And so obviously I've always had a platform. Wrong. I've not always had a platform. I only had a few thousand followers. And I had done a debate with Nick Fuentes on Israel, right? And where I was taking a pro-Israel position and trying to make the point about how that the white nationalists were obviously wrong about Israel. And I did that, and I don't think it was necessarily a mistake, but it was not obviously a good idea, because even if I made the points, it still got amplified, and so I gave Nick Fuentes and his ideas more traction than they should have had. And then going forward, I had a policy where I was like, I don't debate anti-Semites. Like, to me, anti-Semitism is not something worthy of debate, and so when people are anti-Semites, I refuse to give them oxygen. And even when I had that small number of followers, even when I had just a few thousand, because bigger platforms were amplifying me, I felt I had an ethical responsibility not to engage in debate with anti-Semites in a public viewable forum, because I didn't want to amplify what they said. And I don't feel like I don't feel like what these guys are doing is responsible. It's just not responsible. And I think the funny thing is that the left gets this, right? Like the even like the Antifa types get this. They understand it. They're like, no. We don't give platforms to Richard Spencer. We don't give platforms to these people. Like, even if it might be convenient to hit the president, we don't do it because it's wrong. It's immoral. And yet, still doing this. Somebody says, you look kind of like Richard Spencer. Yeah, I'm like the half-Jewish version. Right. So, whoa, let's be careful there. Right, except the one who's like, not anti-Semitic and not a bad person and not a racist, weirdly enough. That's funny, though. Thank you, Carla. So he says, I'm so tired of hearing the word racist. Well, oddly enough, Richard Spencer isn't tired of hearing it. Like, his longer-term plan is to make it not a pejorative, right? He wants it to be Richard Spencer wants it to be okay to be racist. That's his point. That's literally his philosophy. And when CNN puts him on, they're helping further that. I don't understand why. They're putting on a guy who's an anti-Semite. They're giving me a chance to build his profile, attract followers, make news cycle. Like, no one needed to give Richard Spencer a news cycle. No one needed to do that. That was literally Jake Tapper being like, who deserves a whole bunch of attention, who hasn't gotten in a while? Richard Spencer. He deserves a ton of attention. That would be really good. That's a really good thing to do. Totally irresponsible. And for these people who have been so critical of us, it's obnoxious. I mean, it's so hypocritical, and it's so unprincipled, and it's so irresponsible. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's insane. I'll take questions. And I'll share it out. I'm going to share it on my own feed, because I have no idea why Periscope disconnected from my Twitter feed. This is the first time that's happened in months. I don't remember the last time that happened. Really, really obnoxious. Hold on. Whoa. Silence. Now I need to share it out on my own feed because I want my own tweet. How irritating. Okay. It's shared. Ridiculous. What should conservatives do to take back well, that was an accidental mute, my bad. What does Ian say? What should conservatives do to retake the narrative and condemn CNN? So Jack Kosovic suggested the cable Nazi network. I don't know that that's inappropriate. I'm sorry, I don't want to hear it from you guys. We actually take our responsibility seriously to use our platforms responsibly. And the fact that you guys are not doing that, it's troubling. It's pretty damn troubling. So I'm not really a fan. Now I'm going to pin the tweet again. So weird. CNN analyst, yeah. What does Brian Stelter think of this? What do other CNN anchors think of this? Like, I don't want to hear it. You guys have no moral standing anymore. You're giving a platform to a white nationalist because you're mad at Trump, and he also is saying mean things about Trump. Like, what does it say about Trump that the white nationalists aren't fans? That Richard Spencer's like, this is BS. He's not really one of us. Like, pay attention. Maybe, just maybe, Trump is not a racist. Maybe Richard Spencer is a racist. Maybe Richard Spencer understands that Trump is not a racist, and that's why he's hitting him. I know, ridiculous. I know, just absurd. Absurd. The guy who explicitly goes out there and talks about why he wanted to form a white ethno state, that guy's the racist. He's mad at President Trump, says some nasty things about President Trump. President Trump, who's like a complete American and focused totally on American nationalism. And y'all are like, but no, the white nationalists. We gotta find out what the white nationalists think. And they agree, Trump's racist. Why are you agreeing with white nationalists? Why is like, man, we agree with Richard Spencer. How bizarre. Like, what's wrong with you? Do the Dems continue to implode, or do they get their shit? I don't know. Yeah, they hosted him. Newsbell's got this right. This was not just a quote. You know, I don't think they should be talking about these people at all, frankly, right? Like, honestly, the mainstream media bears primary responsibility for the elevation of these people and the fact that most of the people in the country know Richard Spencer's name. Richard Spencer should not have gotten millions of dollars of free publicity from the mainstream media. He was never that relevant a figure. And the fact that they're now, it's like they're doubling down on a mistake from 3 years ago. You know, I could understand making the mistake the first time and not fully understanding the way social media works, and that, like, when you talk about something, you give it oxygen. It's 2019, guys. Like, we get this. We are careful about our associations. We are careful what we give platforms to, even though we are on the right and pro-Trump. We think about these things as well. And the fact that CNN doesn't, it's like, you guys are just not responsible. Yeah, they're going to have a Mueller trial tomorrow since this is a fill-in. Yeah, I got to wait for that. Got to wait a week. Yeah, Ian says it's no mistake. I'm beginning to think that's right. You know, I mean, a lot of people, like, I've just, there's a lot of journalists out there who give jack shit for doing real stories, but like, and they intend to, like, think about this, right? All these guys try and connect Jack with, like, the worst elements of the internet. They all do. They had a whole combined hit piece that tried to paint Jack as an anti-Semite. That was BS, and that we dealt with like 6 months ago, I think. And then you're going to put Richard Spencer on the show in 2019? You guys are enabling this. Stop it. No one has to talk about these people. Like, we spent 2 years fighting them off. We succeeded. They are doomed. Oh, you're gone. See, that's what you do, right? Somebody here's like, I think Richard Spencer's a good guy. Boom. Whoop. Bye-bye. Who else wants to talk, right? I feel like deplatforming some white nationalists. If you guys want to, like, say hello, right? This is how you do it. You mute them. Just mute them, right? But no, instead of muting them, you invite, CNN invites them to their studio and says, "What's up? Please tell us how bad you think the president is. How much you think the president is not effectively achieving white nationalism." Right. Yeah, David Duke thinks Trump isn't racist enough. He doesn't think Trump is racist enough. That's the thing. But, here's what we don't do. We don't go around filming David Duke being like, hey, David Duke, do you not like the president? He's like, no, I don't like the president. He's not racist enough. Like, Fox News doesn't go around doing that because it's not responsible to give a platform to David Duke. It's not a responsible thing to do. Why are you doing this? Hold on. Oh, we got another one. Ooh, bye-bye. Dude, there are, like, white nationalists in the chat today. I love muting these people. These people are so mutable. Somebody says you didn't get a notification. That's because it was messed up. Somehow my Periscope got disconnected from my Twitter on my iPad, which I did not see coming because why? I don't know. Was it an update? I don't get it. I'm very confused. Yeah, Mado's going to put David Duke on. It's like they never asked Ilhan Omar to disavow David Duke. They asked Donald Trump to disavow David Duke repeatedly. They made a huge, big hubbub about it. And now here's Jake Tapper giving a platform to Richard Spencer. Like, guys, stop it. You guys are promoting Nazis. Stop doing it. You don't have to. Maybe you're underlying it. Like, why should I not look at CNN and say you guys are a platform for the, you guys criticize Breitbart for quote-unquote being a platform of the alt-right. You're literally a platform for the alt-right. CNN is a platform for the alt-right. How am I wrong? How am I wrong? Somebody says, is it standard practice to make the guest look as good as possible? Makeup offer? Yeah, generally. He looked like he had makeup on. He didn't look bad. Somebody says, you are correct. Yes, I know I'm correct. Can we have bipartisan agreement here that Jake Tapper should not have put Richard Spencer on the air? No shit. What do I think about Ilhan Omar attacking Jews? I think Ilhan Omar is an anti-Semite, obviously. Who's this? You're gone too. Bye. A lot of blocks. Am I surprised? I'm actually a little surprised. I thought CNN had got the memo. I thought CNN had got the memo. Dude, my mods are even getting there faster than I am. They're killing it. Good job, mods. Way to go, Patrick. Killing the game. Killing the game. When did I start getting trolls? I think because Richard Spencer's in the title. So if people Google, if the white nationalists Google Richard Spencer, also they probably got tipped off. They got their own little private networks. Jack says they would be calling for Tucker to be canceled if he did that. That's exactly right. They would be calling for Tucker to be canceled. They routinely call for Tucker to be canceled, falsely calling him a white nationalist and a racist when he's not one. And then CNN puts Richard Spencer on, and everybody's like, oh, that's fine. Whatever. Ridiculous. Bye. Lots of muting. So much muting. All right, a few more questions and I'll wrap it up. White nationalism is bad, but what do you think about white advocacy? I'm for non-bigoted advocacy, period. There are ways to say that the interests of there's a big difference between those two things. You can say white people shouldn't have bad things happen to them without being like a white nationalist. Moreover, it's like most of the justifications for that, or most of the advocacy there, is actually fairly flippant, to be honest. What do I think of Mexican supporters? It's not Mexicans, it's Antifa. All right, I think that'll do. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna head out. I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you so much, guys. Peace out.